Welcome back to Level-Headed Gamer. My name is Joseph, and I've been playing Biomutant and loving it since Friday. I actually got a couple days early, and I thought I'll give you 10 tips that'll be extremely useful for any beginner. And starting with my first tip is that after you take over any outpost, when you initially take it over, there's nothing for you to collect. But once you take it over, a bunch of NPCs, of course, appear. But then there's also a bunch of boxes for you to grab, which can kind of yield various interesting loot, which should be very useful to you. As well as there's going to be a Psy totem kind of a pillar at the entrance of each of these outposts right before you come out, which will grant you one Psy point, which of course you'll need for Psy powers. Tip number 2, in various dead zones, your resistance is going to go down pretty quickly if you don't have a good resistance from the beginning. Well, actually, you don't have to be scared going into these zones because you can hide in buildings to replenish your meter, or you can actually go by a water source. If there's a clean water source, that will also replenish your meter, giving you a chance to kind of hop from building to building and explore the surrounding areas if you need to. With tip number 3, I'm going to say be on the lookout for various items. There's going to be resource totems, which you can destroy and grant you various crafting items that you need in this game to upgrade and improve your gear. There's going to be a bunch of red vines you'll see with little green leaves that you can jump through that will grant you the leaf currency, the currency of this game. There's going to be Psy points totems, which I've mentioned. There's going to be some in Outpost, but there's also going to be some out in the world you should look out for automatically. There's even sometimes you can find these book podiums, which I don't have a video of. There'll be these little book podiums in Outposts in various areas where you explore that will give you also upgrade points for your Wong Fu and your perks and of course your class. Tip number 4, another thing to look out for is you'll see things like bench press machines, running tracks, and dumbbells. And I haven't discovered every single one variation for each stat, but basically if you do that little mini game where you'll curl the biceps or curl the dumbbells a couple times, or you'll chest press a little bit, you'll permanently boost your stats on your character depending on what you're doing there. That could be vitality, strength, and so on. They're very useful, but like I said, I haven't discovered every single variation, but it's usually in abandoned buildings or underground caves that you're exploring. Tip number 5, which I don't see a lot of people talk about, but you'll see these small little animals that you can capture out in the wild, and actually they give you an opportunity if you capture them to shift your light and dark aura depending on what you decide to do with the animal, whether it be kill it, let it go, or pet it and keep it. With tip number 6, there are 4 ways for you to get animal mounts. Well, mounts in general, I should say. First of all, any animal mount, you can buy a license at any outpost to acquire that specific mount that's at that outpost. You can also pick up Pip Seeds out in the world, which they teach you in the tutorial that helps you tame animals in the wild. As long as you keep these Pip Seeds, anytime you see an animal you want, you can run up to it and you will be able to have it. There's also side quest specific mounts, which I'll have a later video on, but I'll kind of demonstrate one of the ones I've gotten so far. And of course, there's story specific ones. So if you're worried about getting certain mounts, you will get a bunch of them just by playing the story and doing some side quests, but at the same time, you can hunt for them, whether it be out in the wild or at various outposts. Tip number 7. I've come across this kind of a quest called the Sundial Quest, which if you complete, it will yield you some great gear. But as the name suggests, you have to do it during the day, as you have to turn the sundial to match up with the shadow, and it'll point in the direction that you should probably travel and unlock this kind of hidden cave. And within it, obviously, there'll be some hard enemies, usually a bunch of gear for you to collect, which is always a great way to kind of get your character's gear boosted, or at least get some crafting items in the process. Tip number 8. Now, I know a lot of people, it's going to look like there's a lot of abandoned buildings in this game, but you'll be surprised how many of them are not just scenery, but actually have quite a lot of useful gear like boxers, lockers, bio points, canisters, and so much more. They might look abandoned, but really take the time in this game to explore as you would, for example, in something like Zelda or Assassin's Creed, to explore it thoroughly, because it doesn't point to every little thing that you can find in the area until you actually go in there and look around. Tip number 9. Utilize ending combo chains to bring up your special Wong Fu meter for those high damage ultimate attacks that you can activate. There's usually 3 different meters you have to scale up before it activates, and I found that the easiest way to do it is to use the combo chain when you dodge out of the way, press slash attack and then fire your gun, that automatically usually brings it up to 2 right away. Then you just need 1 more and you'll be able to activate your Wong Fu special meter. And my last tip I got for you is invest in some Locksteps to not only increase your critical chance, but a chance of finding higher quality items out in the world, which is extremely useful because upgrading gear in this game is quite expensive. There you go, guys. Those are my 10 tips for you for Biomutant for any beginner, and I tried really hard to pick out tips that were different from others, at the very least that they haven't seen mentioned or haven't seen mentioned much, that I thought would be useful for you guys. I didn't want to go to the basic tips of something they teach you in the game. I tried my best to find ones that are a little bit out of the weight or require some experimentation to find out. And hopefully this was useful to you. If it was, make sure you subscribe down below for more content on this channel. We're going to cover a bunch of action games on this channel overall as the coming months, as well as some more Biomutant, and of course, something like Ratchet and Clank upcoming. Guys, make sure to enjoy the rest of your day. Peace out.